So Chiney Ogwumike has responded. She has responded to obviously the WNBA releasing her statement, and let's not forget, we all know what Chiney Ogwumike has said. Chiney Ogwumike basically said that players and coaches complained. Players and coaches were the reason for the investigation. They put in a complaint when that's not, like, we know exactly what happened. We know exactly what happened. We know that it started from Twitter. Somebody pretended to be at the game, claimed they heard a certain animal noise, and it was a dolphin noise. There was an animal noise, but it was a dolphin noise. And yeah, it is what it is. So Chiney Ogwumike responded. Let's see.
Hey everybody, I'm sure you've seen the WNBA statement on the investigation, and I want to address this with the same energy I did the first time, because if you really know me, I always try my absolute best to uplift the WNBA, to celebrate the amazing players, the coaches, and of course the fans. That is something that is at the core of everything that I do. But if you know me, you know I'm not afraid to say I can do better. I am sorry that my message was in the heat of the moment, because when I initially spoke on the topic, it really came from a place of care.
I have no doubt about that, in fairness. I have absolutely no doubt about that. The problem is, I have to say this, like, we've seen it from that Mantis video, like, there are, just like in Indiana, whether you go to New York, whether you go to Chicago, whether you go to LA, whether you go to San Fran, whether you go to literally any NBA arena, any sports arena, anywhere in the world, the unfortunate truth is there are going to be an extremely, extremely small percentage of bad fans. No matter where you go, there is going to be an extremely small percentage of bad fans. And, like, that's the whole thing, is that, like, with this investigation, it just, like, it came from nothing. It came from nothing, and, I mean, it's just a weird thing. And I genuinely do believe that there was no, because, like, again, I was so shocked when I heard Chiney say it, because I'm like, Chiney Ogwumike is one of the ones that I'm like, is actually a good basketball analyst. But she stated it like it was fact.
It was based on firsthand conversations with people very close to the situation.
Who was close to the situation? Because the Chicago Sky players, I mean this when I say this, I would assume she's talking about her sister. Chicago Sky players didn't say anything. Chicago Sky coaches didn't hear anything. Indiana Fever players didn't hear anything. Indiana coaches didn't hear anything. So all you're getting is Chinese whispers through, or is that like it goes getting passed by 70 different people, and suddenly by the time it finally ends up getting to the top against the Players Association, the truth has been probably completely changed, and it could be something completely different.
Who raised real concerns, and they told me what they had experienced, and I felt like it was important and it was necessary to.
Players close were raised concerns. People close were raised concerns. Who? And I actually, by the way, I really appreciate Chiney Ogwumike coming out and making a statement and actually trying to take some responsibility, because other people in the media are literally doubling down and saying it happened. It happened. And by the way, again, the investigation is specifically near the court. The investigation was about the dolphin noise. The WNBA have as good as said that the investigation was about the dolphin noise. And again, you can't investigate Joe Schmo in section 217 who said something out of line to the person sitting next to them. You can't investigate that. Unfortunately, that does not cause a league-wide investigation. That does not, like, you don't brand 18,000 people as something, which, unfortunately, that is what Chiney Ogwumike did. That is realistically what, because she spoke about the investigation like it's fact. The investigation was not about a couple of bad eggs in section 187. The investigation was about an entire fan base and making a certain animal noises towards Angel Reese. That was what the investigation is almost certainly about.
Acknowledge those allegations and also voice those experiences. Now, in the process, however, I totally recognize the situation who raised real concerns, and they told me what they had experienced. And I felt like it was important and it was necessary to acknowledge those allegations and also voice those experiences.
Who? You, like, by the way, you are not the person. If somebody heard this, if one of these players heard this, by the way, I'm not saying a player has to come and speak out, but at least the player has to go to the league and say something. The player goes to security. The player goes to their team. Like, just because a team lost by 35 points and wanted to play victim and it somehow gets all the way up to the league, they cause an investigation, does not mean that suddenly it's like voice and experience. Like, yeah, it was a hostile environment, just like every away arena should be in sports. Let's be real. It was nothing that you don't see in sports. But it's like, still realistically, I don't mind this thing, but she's trying to justify what she said. She messed up, and that's fine. You can mess up. Hopefully doesn't mess up again.
Now, in the process, however, I totally recognize that it may have impacted fans in a way that I did not intend, and I am sorry.
Yes.
I'm also happy that the WNBA treated the matter with the utmost seriousness, followed through with the investigation, and I understand that having a platform comes with a responsibility, and I do not take that lightly. So as our league continues to grow, I am going to grow with it. And I am so committed to be better in how I share perspectives and grow alongside the game that I truly love and adore. I mean, some of my favorite memories as a pro was playing in Indiana, and I truly believe that WNBA, we have the most passionate fans, and I'm grateful for our community. I hope you know that's who I am.
I actually, by the way, I actually have nothing against Chiney Ogwumike. I think she done goofed. I think she messed up. And in the crossfire of her realistically, I'm not going to use the word misspeak. In the crossfire of her pushing something that I'm not going to say, like, again, I'm not going to say nothing was said, because again, I'm not accounting for, though, like we've seen in the Mantis video, that maybe of all the people, by the way, one fan said something out of line. There was like 20 people in the video and one fan said something out of line. You can guarantee that that person was videoing every single fan for like an hour for one person to say something out of line. But like, you've got, like, there's no way that person probably in section 145, or I mean, that's probably not even a section 112, and maybe they said something out of line outside the stadium. There's not going to be an investigation about that. Like, unfortunately, the WNBA cannot investigate and could not, will not, and should not investigate one individual person. That is the job of the arena to get them out of there if they do anything bad. But unfortunately, it's impossible to please every single person unless they are shouting something. If you're shouting something people can hear, they're going to be gone. But yeah, all in all, it's a really weird situation. And look, of all the people in the WNBA media, Chiney's response is the best. Like, all the other responses in the media are people being disappointed that nothing was found. It is people that wanted it to be true that 18,000 people were making specific animal noises towards Angel Reese. They wanted that to be true. And that just shows where their logic are. They want it to be true that a player was thrown slurs on the court, rather than an investigation starting by Twitter being completely false. They would rather it be true, just so they would rather their quote-unquote favorite player be hurled with slurs so they can say, I told you so, than for it to be proven false and for their favorite player to have not been hurled with, and to have not have hurls shouted at, or slurs, hurled at them for the whole game. That just sums where those people come from. And I believe this when I say this. I don't think Chiney Ogwumike is... I even said at the time, I don't think she's coming from a place of malice. And it is very much not the case where The Athletic... I've seen something in The Athletic where basically they've said unsubstantiated just means they don't have definitive proof. It still could have happened. It's like, I'm sorry, we don't live in a world of guilty until proven innocent, especially when the video footage shows it's a lot more likely that people are innocent than guilty. We're not doing guilty till proven innocent. We're not doing that. We're not going to let that happen. And at least Chiney Ogwumike is not pushing that. Again, would it have been better for her to have said that she was wrong in what she said? That she was wrong in kind of doubling down on an accusation? Yes, of course it would. But I don't mind this response. She responded. She said she had to be better. And I don't think she's going to do something like that again. Again, would you have rather heard certain things? Yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm not the response police. This is 100 times better than the people who seem to be angry that the investigation for a dolphin noise was not they were angry the WNBA didn't lie. They're angry the WNBA didn't run with the lie. Like, that, like, it is what it is. It is what it is. And yeah, you know what? I don't mind the WNBA investigating it. The problem is the WNBA announced the investigation. That's where it all came from. Them announcing the investigation caused everything. But anyway, yeah, that is the video. I will see you guys again. Look, absolutely no issue with Chiney Ogwumike. I think of all the people in the WNBA media space, she's one of the better ones. No ifs, ands, or buts. No question about that. She's one of the better ones. So hopefully we don't see this nonsense again. Because there are people in the damn media that seem to be angry that no slurs were said to Angel Reese. They seem to be angry that their quote-unquote favorite player was not hit with slurs. So, anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys.